Yes, guys, welcome to Chasing Green Arrows. We are back. It's Friday. It's game week 23. It's me, Gianni Batici, and Mr. Dean Jones. Dean, how are you, mate?
Yeah, a little bit sleepy, mate. 6 a.m. here. I tried to wake up an hour before we come on just because it's like gives my eyes a chance to like recover and I don't look like I've literally just rolled out of bed. So I try my best to do that. Some days are easier than others, but at least I woke up naturally today. There's been a couple of times we've done this and the alarm gets me. And like that hasn't happened even many times in my whole life. And I get woken up by alarms mainly because I hate it.
Yeah.
So I'm feeling all right, mate. I feel all right. And I'm especially happy because we come straight on. We've got a new member, Tom. Thank you, Tom. And we've got a super chat straight away from your best mate, Malachi.
Oh, Maliki, my boy in Ireland. Maliki, let us know how the winds are in Ireland, because I saw on the news it was like obviously there's a red alert for parts of the country or parts of the UK, and I think or Great Britain. I think Ireland is I saw the headline of the hardest storm to hit Ireland ever potentially. So in terms of wind speed and
Whoa.
stuff, yeah.
Really?
So let us know. Oh, good evening. Wouldn't
114
you
miles an hour.
Yeah, like they've been told, people have been told in Ireland or parts of Ireland to make sure they've charged their phones and their laptops and everything in advance because they're probably going to be without power.
Oh, that's the worst, man.
I know. So let us know
This
if
is
you are in
wild.
Ireland and let us know. Or if you're in northern Scotland or west coast of Scotland or even the west coast of anywhere in the UK, let us know because we want to
Yeah.
know if that Liverpool game's in doubt. I
I'm
don't
going to
think.
say, are there any games that are in doubt? I mean, you are the man. I mean, you might not be having your best FPL season of all time, but you are having your best weather watch of all time.
Yeah, I know. I would. I love the chaos. The chaos brings me clicks and it brings me subscribers, so it's always fun. But yeah, I don't think we're going to get it, unfortunately. Oh, there we go, Andy. Let's talk FPL. So there's been no power for 12 hours. Interesting. Yeah, good for him. Well, maybe he won't be deadline streaming tomorrow, which will give every other YouTuber a chance to get some views. That'd be cool. Andy's a friend of mine. He won't mind me saying that. Maliki says Isak captainers to outscore Salah captainers. Straight away, we're going to hit you guys with a poll
Whoa.
on captaincy. Are you captaining Salah this game week? We'll go. Who's your game week 23 captain? Salah, Isak, and then we'll just put an other because I expect if it's not Salah, it's Isak. But look, maybe there'll be others that go. If I'm not going Salah, I can go within the same fixture and go Gakpo or go Trent or whatever.
Maybe, yeah. A few people complaining recently about Gakpo that they don't feel they get the results from him that they would deserve, especially for being brave with the pick. So yeah, there's a lot to consider there. In the WhatsApp chat this morning, the Chasing Green Arrows one of the early debates straight away was what we're doing about captaincy, and they're all debating it in there. And I think a bit of surprise of anyone that's not going with Salah, but the little poll that they had between them in the group didn't actually have Salah in it because Wazza started it and he hasn't got Salah. He's gone he switched to Haaland because he needs to make up ranks. He was like, I'm jumping off of this. And Isak won by a landslide. So, yeah, Isak is obviously a very good place to be. But is it better than Salah, mate? That's what everybody
No.
needs to work out.
The ownership of Salah captain this game week might be the highest we've seen all season. He is going to be captained by the world and their dog, other than a few high risk, high reward managers that go, I'm betting against the template just because I need to. But the bookies have Liverpool at like 3.5 goals for the game, which is as high as you'll see. And the bookies don't often get it wrong. And I think we all probably think Liverpool could absolutely batter Ipswich. Sure, Newcastle could do the same to Southampton, but Newcastle are the away team. I mean, how do you see those two games going? Let's start with Liverpool Ipswich and talk Liverpool assets and Salah captain and then move on to Newcastle. I mean, I see that Liverpool game going only one way. And if they get an early goal, then it could become a 6 like a Man City. Ipswich.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be a 6. I don't. But I do expect, obviously, Liverpool to win. I keep questioning Liverpool about are they really that good? But I said on Ranks FC after the Champions League games the other night, like I've got to start giving them some more respect, like publicly, because what they are doing is proving that they are the best team in Europe at the moment, and they can only beat what's in front of them. They can only judge themselves against what everybody else has got right now. And they have a consistency, a flow to them, and a belief to them that not many other teams can really come close to this season, whether it's in the Champions League or the Premier League. So, yeah, I want to give Liverpool some respect for that. But I also want to give Ipswich some respect because they're doing a good job of being in the Premier League, and they're putting up a fight here. And I think that 6-0 really would have hurt them. And I don't think that they're going to come straight back out and get totally battered again. So it depends what you take for battered. By that, I mean like not 6-0, like maybe 3, maybe 4 if Liverpool really go for it. But I think Ipswich are going to try to make themselves very hard to beat. So what do I think in terms of Salah's ceiling compared to Isak's ceiling? I think Salah does edge it. I think he edges it. The only thing I'm trying to get away from is this Salah's at home, Isak's away.
Yeah, you mentioned that the other day. It's a fair point.
I really need to get away from that. We're seeing loads of... We're seeing it doesn't matter, especially when you're Newcastle and you're going to Southampton. Southampton are so bad. It doesn't really matter if you're playing them home or away. And Southampton are worse than Ipswich. So Isak's up against a worse team. But Salah, I kind of feel like he's due one. We've had a couple of games without big returns for Salah. Obviously took his goal really nicely in the Champions League in midweek. And yeah, I think that Salah will be the most obvious place to go in this moment. But does that mean that Isak's a differential? Because as a differential, I don't even think it's risky. So I think it really depends on where you're at right now. And I'm kind of surprised you would go for Salah in the position that you're in, because is it because you just don't want to lose more ground, or it's just like, this is what I would always do as an FPL manager, so this is what I'm going to do?
Yeah, there's definitely weeks to bet against the template. Christ, I've done it a lot in the last month. I mean, I had Bruno captain the other day when everyone had I think it was either Salah or Isak or Palmer. But then there's certain weeks where you go, simply, do I think that player has a much better chance of getting the highest points total in the game? And if that's the case, you just have to captain the guy you think is going to get the most points, right? And I think that is going to be Salah by some... I think it's the easiest decision of the season. And I do think... I think the home advantage matters a little bit, but I agree with you. We have to get away from that line of, it's the home team and the away team. You see as many goals for the away team. But just when you take the individual teams, we know at home, Liverpool have got an unbelievable record at Anfield. And we also know, more importantly to this conversation, I think, is Newcastle under Eddie Howe in the Premier League haven't been the best team away from home. So they are one team.
I think we've lost you there for a minute, mate. I think you might have come unplugged. Check that or something, because it just says you're on mute, and I wonder if you've come unplugged. So I'll give you a second. Yeah, you're back. Yeah.
Oh, thanks, mate. So yeah, I just think the away from home thing for Newcastle in particular does matter because Eddie Howe's record. But yeah, they're two great matchups. But for me, it's just a no-brainer this week. And I'm so pro-Liverpool that I feel the need to be in with a shot and buying a ticket to the draw of having double attack over double defense. Now, many can't get to double attack because they might have in their front line João Pedro is perfectly fine, Chris Wood, who's been brilliant, and Isak, who's outstanding. You're not selling any of those three players to get to a Cody Gakpo. But for those that have got a Jimenez that might be able to find money to go up to a Gakpo, or they've got a Jackson they can sell to a Gakpo, most managers in that position are moving that player on to get to Gakpo because they just see the ceiling of a Gakpo versus a Van Dijk or a Konate or an Alisson for the third Liverpool slot, assuming everyone's got Trent and Salah.
Yeah, Paul in our members area on the WhatsApp, he actually came up with ranking of the Liverpool assets this morning. He said 1 Salah, 2 Trent, 3 Gakpo, 4 Alisson, 5 Konate or Van Dijk, and 6 Szoboszlai. I guess that's pretty template. Is there any changes you would make to that list? Is there anyone you'd edge
No,
up?
I think that's about right. I mean, I think Gakpo is 3 for me, but because so many can't get to Gakpo, the vast majority, I think more teams in terms of big FPL accounts that you follow on Twitter or YouTube, most have Chris Wood, Isak, and João Pedro line up. They probably can't get to a Gakpo because I don't think anyone's selling Chris Wood. I think that'd be foolish, and I don't think I would sell Chris Wood. Chris Wood's been amazing, but selling one of your Arsenal defenders to a Liverpool defender is much easier. And there's a lot of Saliba and Gabriel. Big man has Saliba and Gabriel. Big man is probably selling Saliba this game week. One, we don't know if he plays, and two, he wants to get a third Liverpool asset. It is worth noting Slot has just spoken in his press conference, and he has actually been quoted on Konate, who does seem like a big risk. We know he missed the Accrington Stanley game, as you'd expect. He missed the Champions League game against Lille, as you'd expect. The problem for Konate is his workload, and Slot says it's safe for him to play. It's more the load you're aware of a player is out of 5 or 6 weeks and then playing him every 3 days. That's, in our opinion, a certain risk. So what he's saying is Konate simply can't play every 3 days. When you look at the Liverpool spacing, you should be good for 4 out of 4 Premier League starts if the rotation games come in Champions League against PSV next week when it's a dead rubber, effectively, for Liverpool. They're already through. Or the FA Cup against Plymouth, again, you expect to rest. Does he get a rest in the EFL Cup semi-final against Spurs? Probably not. But does he need to for Premier League starts? Probably not. So miss those 2 games and you're probably good. So Konate is a little bit riskier than a Van Dijk, but he's a lot cheaper. If your budget can't stretch Van Dijk, I think Konate is still a good pick.
Yeah, and let's flip it over and go over to the Isak conversation, which is where a lot of people are going to be sitting right now. And I think that that's totally fair. He's been in such good form, and also Southampton have been, well, they're dreadful. Even when they're good, they lose. So, like, this is a team, say good, I don't even know if they were good, but say they put, yeah, I mean, you know, they can't do anything right at the moment. So it's very, very difficult to believe that you can trust him. But Newcastle are always one of those teams that I kind of sit on the fence for too, like being able to trust them. And obviously they had that recent defeat when I don't think anybody really saw them losing in that fashion to Bournemouth 4-1. So what do we think here with Isak against Southampton? Because why is that not a better pick than Salah, I guess, is the question, is the best way to pose it. Why would you not go Isak over Salah this week?
Yeah, I mean, he's been amazing, but Salah has still been the best player in the game this season, and Liverpool has still been the best team in the league this season. And for consistency, Salah and Liverpool definitely tick the boxes. You could argue in the last sort of 10 game weeks, Isak's been just as consistent, if not more so, and that would be a fair argument too. But his team haven't been. They're off the back of a 4-1 defeat. Liverpool keep winning games, and Ipswich have just been hammered 6-0. Southampton haven't had a 6-0 defeat all season, I don't think. So it's just comes down to that straight shootout. Isak's an amazing option still. And if you do want to bet against the template, that's completely your thing. I don't think it's the week to do it. But if you've got Gordon as well as Isak in your team, you're laughing. This is a week for those that have got double Newcastle attack. They're going to be rewarded, I think. And last time out, both players blanked. And you probably expected something at home to Bournemouth. You didn't get it. But all those on Gordon, I think, will be very happy. And if you've got Gordon and Isak, that in itself, that combination in itself will be a differential because very few have both those players. And Southampton's the best game you're going to get.
Yeah, that is interesting. I do like, actually, that these games are happening at exactly the same time. Like, they are... It's not like even like you can look at the fixtures and be like, oh, well, Salah plays first or whatever. Like, they're playing at the same time. Like, that is going to add like a bit of a dramatic twist to the FPL weekend, I think. Keeping an eye on each other and seeing whether you've made the best captaincy choice or not. I'm always happier to deal with that than I am watching my player blank and then waiting to see what the other one does. So at least you're going to find out in real time whether you've made the right decision or not on Salah versus Isak. My head is telling me to go with Salah. My heart is saying, get on Isak. Do it. Like, good opportunity here for me, being around 500k, because most people, I imagine, around me will be going Salah. So here's a decent chance to take a punt. And I don't think it's that much of a punt. So A late decision, I think, for me on that one, mate. We'll wait and see. I have got a couple of questions actually that have come in from the WhatsApp group.
Oh, yeah.
So I'll see what you think of.
Nice plan, putting some of those in the show on a Friday. That's a great shout.
Yeah, I just thought, I woke up this morning and as I was getting up and I just wanted to talk to someone to wake me up, really. I was like, right, everyone, what do you want me to talk about today? And Paul said, can you talk a bit about the assistant manager's chip? For example, if you've already used your triple captaincy, should we be using this as kind of replacing that?
Yeah, I think it's such a good discussion. It's the right time to have it now. It's a good question, Paul. Like, if you've got triple captain, then game week 24, double for Liverpool, it just makes sense to play it. Liverpool could double again in 33, I think it is, but you might want that for other chips. So a standalone, isolated double game week as 24 is going to be triple captain Salah if you've got the chip. If you've not got the chip, then the assistant manager is a real opportunity. I'm looking at my entire chip strategy and saying, when's the best time to use the assistant manager chip? Because that's the most important chip of the game. That's the most important chip in terms of high ceiling. And I keep coming back to the doubles in 33 and 36 will be a better time to trigger it. 36 arguably is going to be the best time for many because at the end of the season, you might be able to identify teams that have got more to play for or haven't. The table might be more settled and you're looking for those 5 bonus points. And I think more importantly, you don't have to think about accumulating transfers in game week 36 because there's only 3 weeks left. So you're happy if you need to use transfers on your assistant manager, you can and still improve your team with any rolled over transfers you've got. And that's quite an important point, I think. The accumulation of transfers at the end of the season isn't as important as it is now. Therefore, being able to rotate between managers week to week, I think it's going to be worth it. And when I play my chip, almost certainly I'll be using at least 1 transfer, if not 2, on changing between game week 1, 2, and 3. Remember, this is a 3 game week block. You've got to use it in a double game week. So you have to trigger it somewhere around 24, 33, or 36. They're the 3 doubles. And 36 just feels like a good point to do it. 36, 37, 38. I'm not set on that. If Everton go and beat Brighton this weekend away from home, David Moyes, after beating Spurs convincingly, if they go and beat Brighton, I might just fancy Moyes in 24, you know.
It's funny, yeah. John, another one of our members, he's a newbie actually, he lives in Sweden. He said, yeah, I'm not thick because Paul had mentioned, looking at Slot as the manager that he'd pick. John's like, I'm not thinking Slot at all. I'm targeting Moyes, but maybe I'm mad. It's probably not mad, is it? Because actually, if you were going to be using this early doors, Everton are the sort of team with a new manager bounce and with a surprise element about them and a little bit more confidence and a double game week that coming up that might be a good idea. I know it's a weird thing to do because it's Everton and they haven't been that good, but that's kind of the beauty of this chip. It's a bonus chip. Like it's a chance to do something different with your season, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Like the value in Slot, for me, it's just not there. Like I don't see the value in going for a manager top of the league because the bonus points that you get by beating a team 5 places above is such a huge trigger. So sure, you get goals, you get points for goals and clean sheets, but it's minimal. The big points are going to come if you're David Moyes if David Moyes gets a draw against Liverpool, he gets more points than Slot gets for a win against Liverpool. Against Everton, sorry. So there's a bonus there. I need to recap. It's 10 bonus for a win, as well as the 6, so it's 16 points. For a draw, I think it's 8 in total. I think it's a 5 bonus and 3 for the draw. I need to double check that. But it's definitely higher. So I don't mind Moisey. And then look, you could swap because in game week 25, Fulham play Forest at home. I fancy Fulham in that one.
Oh yeah, and we get that gap, right? Yeah, that's a good shout. That is a good shout.
If I was going Moyes, I'd switch to Silver for that week, I reckon.
Yeah, wow, you really do look deep at this game, don't you?
I've not even made a video on it either. Like I've gone that deep, not even to make a video as research, just because
that was like in your relaxing time after you've just done loads of research and video. When most people just be scrolling Reddit or Instagram.
I was silver fixtures and where I could switch. The problem is in game week 26, there isn't an obvious fixture to target for the bonus. Like, check out the game week 26 fixtures. I don't have a single team I have identified in 26 to go, they can do it. Like, Leicester play Brentford. Leicester won't beat Brentford in a month of Sundays. Everton United won't have the bonus. Arsenal West Ham, you're not backing Potter. Bournemouth Wolves at Bournemouth, you're not backing Wolves to win that. Fulham Palace won't have the bonus. Ipswich Spurs there won't be 5 places. Southampton Brighton aren't beating Southampton. Villa Chelsea won't have bonus. Newcastle Forest won't, and Man City Liverpool won't. So the only fixture there to really chase would be Leicester beating Brentford or Wolves beating Bournemouth. And I don't think I like either of them. Because Wolves are away. I know it's the away thing again.
Yeah, this is a really good point from CH. And I think that this is fair. She says, confessions. I don't know the names of all the team managers. Gee, it would help if you could say the team along with the manager's name. That's a good point, actually. I mean, a lot of people that aren't like in this as their day-to-day don't necessarily know like the names of all of these different managers. Like, that is actually a very valid point, CH. And I appreciate you bringing that up, because that is something we should be doing.
Yeah, no, you're right, CH. And the FPL site have just added these managers. So you can now pick a manager on the FPL site. So when you go to view at the top on transfers, goalkeepers, defenders, midfielders, forwards, there is also managers. And obviously below the manager, it says their team. What we have to see this chip as, though, this isn't actually an assistant manager chip. It's a back a team chip. Because if that assistant manager, for example, gets a touchline ban or a yellow card, remember, managers can get yellow cards, you don't get the yellow card. You're investing here in a team, not a manager. So the team is more irrelevant. But of course, when we're talking managers' names, we need to give you the name. I, for example, said Wolves, and off the top of my head, I had a mind blank. I wasn't thinking Vitor Pereira. Like, that just wasn't in my head. Same with Southampton. Juric.
Yeah, that does not roll off the tongue yet. I mean, this man, honestly, like I've said it before, like, he does look like the most stressed man in the world.
He's a fraud as well. He's a rubbish manager. Like Roma, I can't believe we got the Roma gig. They got rid of him so quickly.
Well, honestly, the way he patrols that touchline, he's like constantly got his head in his hands. It's like, mate, what did you think you were taking over? Because it's like useless, and if you weren't prepared for this, you shouldn't have taken it. But I've heard he's probably done it at the end of the season anyway.
Him managing in the Championship, like, you probably, if you want to get out the Championship, probably go back to your old manager. He's been there and done it.
Malachi says, is Ten Hag still the Man United manager? I think sometimes, yeah. It looks like it. It looks like he might be at times.
Well, I don't get. Let's talk a bit about United. If we're done on assistant manager, guys, if you want more, then let us know. We'll go back there at the end of the show with assistant manager. We'll talk massively about the assistant managership next week, because we might genuinely be hitting that button on a Moyes. Some might even be on a Slot. What I'd say is, remember, you can't have 3 Liverpool players plus Arne Slot. If you do think you are going to go Slot, don't go buying a Gakpo this week, because then you're not going to be able to, if you've already got Trent and Salah, of course.
I'm interested to know where it's going to come up on the app. Like, where am I going to have my little manager?
Yeah, well, from 24, it's active. So when you hit the button at the top, which is the chip button, you get an extra slot next to your goalkeeper.
But where's he going to be on this little diagram?
Next to the sub goalkeeper, bottom left. You're going to get. They all sort of shift over.
No, they're going to shrink in, are they?
Yeah, you get a manager and then your goalkeeper.
Okay.
So he's on the bench.
It's an actual bench. I like that. Yeah. I like that.
He's on the bench, but you actually get points for him. You don't get points for the other bench players. So,
next season, they'll have to bring in like the physio, and like you get extra points for like the least injuries, and like you get punished for like somebody being taken off on a stretcher.
No, I'm not going to lie. And this is with no intel, I'm not sure it will be here next year. Yeah, it's so going to be a test. It's testing the water with it, right? If, for example, they see from the 11 million managers that only 4 million use it because the other 6 just went, it's too complicated, I didn't understand it, I didn't know it was there, then they're not going to continue with a rule where only 30-40% of the game are using that chip. Like 90% probably use wildcards and free hits and bench boosts.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It'll be interesting. I've thought from day one it's a little bit too complicated. It's great for us. We love it. It's great for everyone watching the show because they're invested in FPL. They're more than 2 minutes on a Friday. But some of my work colleagues won't use the chip and they won't get it.
That's funny. Like, so in a few people are saying there should be a set piece coach and everyone picks Arsenal. But what if there was actually a chip And it was called set piece coach. And all it meant was for 1 week, any of your players score a goal, whether directly or indirectly from a set piece,
I love that.
you get extra points. That's
I
good,
love
isn't it?
that. You
Set
get
piece
double
coach.
points for a set piece goal.
Yeah, it's either like they assist the free kick or they score from the free kick.
Yeah.
You get extra points.
Yeah.
That is actually a really good idea.
You'd want Gabriel, you'd want Milenkovic, you'd want Craig Dawson.
Yeah, like Declan Rice for his corner, whatever. But like, it give you a bit more variation, a bit more to consider. But yeah, set piece coach would be great. It's very trendy as well. Like you would really be playing on the trends of the league.
Yeah, so trendy.
We're wasted here, mate. We're wasted. We should be in that room.
I know, yeah. When we moved away from the assistant manager conversation, I can't remember what I was thinking we should go to, but it was going to be something good. Did I mention anything? I don't think I did.
I mean, it was probably your team, mate. Was that it?
No, it wasn't. I was trying to divert away from that. It was definitely wasn't that. Where did that poll, by the way? I guess it came out of like 70-80% Salah, did it?
No, I didn't see. Yeah.
It must have been up there. I think we were going to talk. Oh no, that was it. I wanted just to get our take on Man United, and because you.
Yeah, that was it. You did. Yeah.
Because there's loads of managers that have their preferred system and run with it when they move team. Like, I think back to, like, everyone goes, oh, Conte always plays with wing backs. Not true. He's gone to Napoli. The team's not set up for that. He plays with the back four. In fact, at Chelsea, he came to Chelsea off the back of Inter with wing backs and went, no, Chelsea are a back four team. We'll run with it. And then it was only in like December he moved to a back five. His preferred system, he didn't do it because the personnel weren't there. Why is Amorim not waiting until he gets a substantial period of time? Or like, and then go, now we'll do back five and come in with a four, or come in with your five if that's your thing. See, it's gone terribly wrong. Quote it as, this is the worst Man United team ever. That's what he said. And still going with the back five. No, nip it in the bud, play a four for a bit until they've got up to speed. Now, how that just makes so much sense to me. How can a manager be? I can't think of an example of a manager that's ever been this stubborn. And I like Amorim, but I'm like, you have to be open to new ideas a little bit, even if it's short term.
Yeah. Imagine there are plenty of managers that wouldn't be given this benefit of the doubt that this is okay to do. And because he joined with his reputation up here, people are like, yeah, well, let him do what he wants to do. If this is his system, this is his system. But, if there's been defensive-minded managers that if they were to do this when they go into a Premier League club and it backfires and they're like conceding loads of goals, and they were like, no, I'm going to stick with it until I've got some better players to do this. People are like, what are you doing? You're a madman. But Amorim, someone just mentioned in the chat, he's exposing his players. That might be part of it, It might be just like, I've just got to show that these players aren't up to it. I think Ahmad at right back is actually really good. I think that is actually his best role in this team. So it'll be interesting once they do get the left back and Dalot and Mazraoui are more in contention to go over to the right, whether he still does that, because Mazraoui could obviously play as one of the three centre backs. And there'll be the temptation to just stick Dalot at right wing back and move Ahmad up to be one of the support forwards. But I really like Ahmad at right wing back, and I think it works pretty well. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see what he does there. Man United obviously trying to sign Patrick Dorgu at the moment. Haven't managed to get that over the line just yet. He wasn't their top choice, but they are convinced that they basically want someone that's like super physical, super athletic, but also has the technical abilities to play in this position. And they want a natural player down that flank, which they haven't had since Amorim came in. Malacia is as good as they've got, but unfortunately for Malacia, since his long absence, he's come back and he's just not up to the standard that Amorim needs. So I feel a little bit sorry for him.
Ten Hag signing, wasn't he? Ten Hag player, Dutchy.
Yeah, I don't think it's, as a player, if he was still like pre-injury or whatever, I think he'd have been fine. But I think he's struggling to get up to where Amorim needs him to be. And I think if Dorgu does go through, then we'll see Malacia leave on loan quite quick. Barragaz says, "Where's Luke Shaw?" Luke Shaw is injured again, and
Poor bloke.
I know. Look, they'll try to sell Luke Shaw because they want to bring in money and they want to have players that are actually available. I don't know if they'll be able to sell Luke Shaw because I don't know who would buy him. He's obviously a very good footballer, but you just don't see it enough. I mean, you've got to get that wage bill down, and he earns quite a lot of money to not play football, basically. So, yeah, a bit of a sad story, really, Luke Shaw. I'm sure one day he will sit down and chat through it all. But yeah, that's
Him
where
and
they
Reece
are.
James, they're two of a similar bunch, similar sort of.
Yeah, they've probably got their own little WhatsApp chat where they talk about that.
Mason Mount as well. They're good mates, those three, so probably have.
They honestly probably have, yeah. But yeah, obviously United playing Fulham this weekend on Sunday night, which is a weird one, a 7:00 kickoff for Man United at Fulham.
Don't see that on Sunday. Like, that's weird.
Yeah, I've had a mixture of reactions actually in my friendship groups that I've got through Fulham. Some love it, but they tend to be like the ones who are single and are planning to go on a sesh on Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, and the fact it's a home game is good for them. But if it was an away game, trip to Manchester on a Sunday night, if you've got work on the Monday morning, it's a bit of a
I know people are like, well, no Man United fans are from Manchester. Well, some are like obviously, you get a fair contingent that are gonna be from London, so it's fine. But
not everyone.
They've got a 3,500 allocation. I think it's fair to say at least a couple of thousand are coming down from Manchester. And that really sucks, especially in a storm that they've got to contend with this weekend.
Yeah, and Sunday trains are a nightmare because
Sunday trains are a nightmare anyway. Exactly. And yeah, I mean, this game is a nightmare anyway. And just to expose them further, by the way, Fulham just absolutely ripping people off at the moment. So obviously we've built our lovely new stand.
Yeah, it looks great.
Looks great, but good luck to you if you can afford to sit in it. A ticket for this game, face value, is £160 for adults and £80 for juniors.
Oh, Christ.
What?
I'd rather sit opposite it and look at the stand.
I'd rather sit outside, mate, rather than pay £240 for me and my little boy to go and watch Fulham. His season ticket last season was like 250 quid. Madness. And it's like, honestly, the problem is, I think it's becoming all Americanized. Obviously, Man United are talking about raising their prices again. And out here, the prices people pay for sports is crazy.
Into Miami tickets are a fortune.
But it's even for just normal stuff.
Really?
There's a Mexican game, two Liga MX teams are playing against each other in San Diego, and the ticket prices were announced, and I was like, oh, I might go along to that. It was $80 or something. Yeah. $80. I think it's a friendly. What am I going to pay $80 for? I'll pay $8. But it's just normalized that you pay a lot of money. The best thing I've been to was a women's college basketball game last week that cost $6. It was great. The kids loved it.
I think you go in the family. You didn't go by yourself.
I didn't go by myself. No. I didn't. No, that's next week. CH says, I have a friend who pays $75,000 for season basketball tickets.
That is mad.
I mean, that person's obviously loaded, surely.
Yeah. That's a
but second, how are you doing that? My San Diego FC, I've got a San Diego FC season ticket, and the season starts in 1 month. And they came out. It's it works out $18 a game.
Oh, mate, well played. That's great.
Nice, eh?
Yeah.
And as soon as you go to buy the ticket, it was $300 something. As soon as it comes up, it's would you like to pay for this monthly instead? It's $50 a month. I was like,
yes.
Yeah, all right. It's no credit checks. Done. Yeah. There you go. All right, we'll take $50 for the next 6 months or so.
That is awesome.
That's amazing. So yeah, just outing Fulham there it won't be sold out. The fact they haven't sold out for Man United at home 2 days before the game tells you how ridiculous that is, and it's sad and embarrassing, to be honest, as a Fulham fan. The club is actually doing that. FPL Freddy says, Dean, will you be able to watch Zaha when Charlotte FC come to town? Yeah, I don't know when Charlotte or if Charlotte comes
They're
to
Eastern,
town.
aren't they? Charlotte's so, but yeah, I guess there's a chance they play. But
there's a chance for sure. I'll check my fixture list in a minute to see if they're actually on our list. But because everyone here was very disappointed when they weren't scheduled to play against Inter. Some people were like, I only bought this season ticket to see Messi.
Yeah.
Well, that's ridiculous because there was a very, very slim chance that was ever going to happen. So that's your fault.
Yeah, all the record attendances for each team in the MLS last season were pretty much on Messi games. So when Messi goes away, it's just like, that every ground fills because they just an opportunity to see him. But guys, there's over 200 of you watching, which is lovely. Thank you, guys. Do hit that like button if you want to support Chasing Green Arrows. Obviously, subscribe if you're new around here. We're on our journey to 10K by the end of the season. So let's make sure we get there, and you can help us
make sure.
There. Where should we move to now? Should we see our teams? Let's see what
I think so.
We always start with your team, which will be a good Toronto FC versus Miami. That's good to know.
Mate, quick one. Real Life Demon says, is captaining Haaland against Chelsea madness? You're a Chelsea fan. Would you advise people to do that?
It's not madness. We can't defend, and I don't even know if Colwell's fit, and Sanchez is terrible in goal. Although he's not bad at shot stopping, but City will create a ton of chances, but Chelsea will also score. I think the PSG Man City game showed us a lot. It showed us how vulnerable City have been defensively, and that 6-0 win versus Ipswich, let's just remember they played Ipswich. Against better attacks, they're still going to concede goals for fun, but they are still exciting going forward. We've seen hauls from Foden, we've seen goals from Haaland. Yeah, I expect Haaland to score versus Chelsea, but I don't see him scoring 2 or 3 or 3. Salah and Isak have that hat-trick potential. Yeah,
absolutely. Just get a question. I should have addressed this at the start. Has Big Man had a snooze? No, he's dealing with real life today. He wasn't able to make the stream. So shouts out, Big Man. You're okay, mate. You already did a show with Big Man, didn't you, on Wednesday? Where
he was going to sell. Team? He was going to sell Saliba and make one transfer only. It was going to be Saliba out to Konate or Van Dijk, and he's captaining Salah, and he's going to roll the other 2 transfers. So next week, he's planning on bringing in double Everton. He's going to have 3 Liverpool and 3 Everton for the double. He wants Calvert-Lewin, he wants Mikalenko and Pickford. So he said he's going all in on that double game week, which I'm surprised at, because that's a really bold call. And fair play, Everton-Leicester is got some upside, but I don't have the transfers to bring Everton players in to then sell them again the week after. And I think that's what I'd want to do. So I'm only going to have Mikalenko because he's already in my team, and I'm not going to be going to a DCL. But I don't think. Let's see what he does against Brighton. But yeah, Saliba's since been. Arteta said he might be available, so I think that'll be enough for Big Man to sell him. I think it's unlikely he'll take the risk.
Right, verdict. Will I be brave enough to put this team out and leave my bench like that?
You're going to start Cole Palmer. You're going to start Cole Palmer against his old team, aren't you? So you've seen City defend.
I was messing around. I was playing with my team. I mean, honestly, there is part of me that would like to do this and change Timber to a Liverpool defender. I've got 3 free transfers to make. Obviously, Liverpool have a double coming up, and I'm like, if I had a Liverpool defender in there, I quite like this team.
Mate, you've even got your goalkeepers the wrong way around. So your bench
to be honest, I haven't even looked at my goalkeepers. Ignore that. Goalkeepers aren't really part of football. So I'll deal with that's almost the last thing I look at. So don't worry about that. But like Cole Palmer, Man City away, maybe. Ahmad, Fulham away, nah. Bruno, Fulham away. I'll be honest. I think Fulham are going to beat Man United.
It's more a Bruno game than an Ahmad game.
But it is more of a Bruno game, and
he's not getting in behind Ahmad much. Fulham don't really get beat in behind.
Yeah. But obviously Bruno has goal potential and penalty potential. Adam says bench boost, Dina. I don't think this is good enough for a bench boost because I don't think there are enough like likelihood of points. So that's something that puts me off of that. But yeah, I should at least consider it more than I have been. But I'm not totally against this 5 defender thing, right? It's totally against what everyone else would do. I totally understand that.
I mean, they're good enough fixtures.
It looks so weird, doesn't it? 2 men in midfield.
So weird. Honestly, I don't think I've ever seen or played a back 5 or with a 2-3. But I guess one thing to consider is, and Big Man would say the same, and I don't want to bang on about bookies odds, but when you see the bookies odds for a team keeping a clean sheet, it's rare you see above 50%. Like, what they're effectively saying is no single fixture of any single Premier League round is usually got a team at 50% or more likely to keep a clean sheet. So what they're saying is, if it's 49% rated, they're saying they still think that team will concede a goal. All of these defenders will go in at under 50%. Even Arsenal versus Wolves is probably a sort of 48% game for a clean sheet. Like, more often than not, teams concede. And could you see Forest scoring against Bournemouth and West Ham scoring against Villa? Sure, Villa and Bournemouth might win those football matches, but you see, you need Bournemouth Forest to be a 0-0. It could be, but it's unlikely.
Yeah,
it's more likely that Bruno or Ahmad or Palmer get an attacking return. As per the bookies, their odds would be 50% plus Bruno and Palmer probably to get a single return in the game.
Yeah, I'm definitely blowing people's mind at the moment by having this bench with particularly Palmer just sat there chilling for the. I just want to rest his legs, Just
There's a schedule coming up. You've got 2 penalty takers on the bench there. That's you've got more penalty takers on the bench than your team. No, you haven't. João Pedro, Isak, and Wood are all on 10.
But yeah, still, it's obviously I'm probably not doing this, but I wanted to just do it as a talking point as well, because it's really difficult actually to know which defenders I'll leave out. Like that is honestly part of the dilemma here, and there's like. I say, I want to bring in a Liverpool defender because obviously they've got Ipswich at home. They've got a double coming up, and he's probably coming for Timber. But then it's like, well, who am I actually leaving out?
Well, Kirkes and Aina play each other. You've got to.
So I've got to take a pick there. I've got to pick one or the other, and whichever I pick will be wrong.
And Bournemouth are flying. I actually fancy Bournemouth this week. If the assistant managership was available this week, I'd be tempted to use it on Iraola. And then into the double, and then Andre Silva for 25. That would be my preferred. I'd genuinely be hitting the button.
Yeah, exactly. And then ISG says, does Luca Dean even start? Well, if he does, then I fancy that Villa can win this game to a clean sheet. That's the thing. So, I don't know. I don't know what I'll end up doing, which one of these lot I'll end up picking. Harry says, Aina and Kirkes for me, Dean. Yeah. I mean, and also I've got the dilemma of who I would actually definitely bring in for Timber. Would you do that? Would you get in a Liverpool defender for Timber and play them?
Yeah.
Or would you? Well, you would.
No,
yeah.
I think if Saliba's out, then the Arsenal clean sheet chances.
Saliba's got a chance though, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's got a chance to play. But regardless, I would say Arsenal and Liverpool are about the same for clean sheet odds this week in my head. I'd probably say Liverpool more likely if anyone edged it. And if that was the case, knowing you're going to be buying that Liverpool player anyway next week, you may as well do it now and benefit this week, knowing they've got a slightly better chance than Arsenal. Yeah,
China says, I would sell Bruno to fund Trent for Ipswich in a double. Never owning Trent. No chance of that happening. I'm sticking to my guns on that one. I know it's going to cost me at times, but over the course of the season, I'm comfortable putting my money elsewhere. Harry says Gabriel to Trent. Everyone wants me to have Trent. I'm not doing it. I'm not caving into this. Even if I'm sat here on Monday and Trent has just come out with a clean sheet and 2 goals, I'll have to be stubborn and say I still believe in my decision, even if it looks completely wrong. But yeah, that's about where I am, mate. Captaincy, I don't know. Salah or Isak, I honestly don't know. It's too tough a decision. Mark says, Dean, you sticking to your guns like with Chris Wood. Chris Wood's going nowhere. I'm definitely not getting rid of Chris Wood. I mean, look at those next 3 games. Bournemouth, Brighton, Fulham. No way. This guy probably in my team. And until Forest fall off a cliff, if that even happens, I'm just leaving him, man. Like he's in too good of a vibe. He's got that Jamie Vardy feel to him of when he's in banging form, and you've just got to go with it.
Yeah, it's a sort of Jamie Vardy of one shot, one goal games, which is what we keep seeing. Like he's on that sort of run where everything he hits turns to gold. So, okay, so your timber to a Liverpool defender, maybe, if not rolling. And if you Liverpool defender, it will be Kanate, I guess, because you can't afford Van Dijk and you don't need to spend that sort of money. So, yeah, nice. I like it. Mate, you've got 7 penalty takers in your front.
And I haven't even done that on purpose. I actually did. It's not a tactic I employ, but yeah, that is true. Yeah. Oh, Mara says, stick with your guts. 5-2-3 fire. Yeah. Honestly, it would be fun, right? It would be fun, but
mate, I've just had a thought. This formation just reminded me of the stick to your guts and sort of getting people's views in the chat made me think of our chasers team. We need to. That was so much fun last year. I mean, it was a night. But it was also very fun. I think it was more of a nightmare for our producer than anything.
Oh, mate, the amount of work those guys were doing behind the scenes was like that. Wasn't worth the stress for them. It would have been better if the Chasers had picked better teams week on week. But
they went so template, didn't they? They bored us. We may as well just do an AI team or something. Okay, let's move on from Dean's team and have a look at mine. I've made my transfer this week, so I can tell you all what it is. It's Gakpo in for Jackson. This is probably an excuse to speak about Gakpo because we've not really gone into detail about the Liverpool attack. Dean, if you're backing a Liverpool attacker, how do you feel about Diaz, Gakpo, Jota, Darwin as a 4? I feel like Gakpo is the only safe one for minutes, and therefore he's the obvious of the 4.
Yeah, he's safer. I mean, as a gamble, I don't mind Darwin Núñez at the moment, but I think, Gakpo is the one to be on for this particular fixture. I know people are concerned slightly about his output when they've actually had Gakpo, but I think that's a decent decision. Definitely a better decision than having Jackson any longer. So, nice one for you to have 2 because he's 10% owned, and a fixture like that gives you real possibilities for rising up the table, and obviously you've got a double on the horizon too. So I like the look of that. How do you feel about your team generally? Do you feel like it's a team you're comfortable with? Like, is this like if you were to wild card, would you be miles away from where you would want to be at?
Yeah, I would be making a few changes, obviously, but I don't think it'd be anything massive. Like, I'm really happy with my team. I keep looking at my team going, I love it. And I keep looking at my rank going, I hate it. I don't understand it. Big Man, the last 2 Wednesdays has said, mate, you are on for a massive haul this week. Like, your team looks so much better than mine. His words, the last 2 weeks, both times my team's flopped. Like,
I've actually looked at yours. Last week, I was like, oh, G must be having a good week. And I look at it and I'm like, oh, he's on the same points as me. How? Because I'm sure that his team is better. But then I think, I still think you've got Foden or something, and he's like, little things like that.
You've done well there. 48 minutes without a mention of Foden. Now, my PTSD hasn't kicked in yet.
Sorry, mate.
No, it's not, mate. It's usually me that mentions him. He come good or bad.
You're gonna get him back or not?
Nah, I've made my bed. Not for a while. The fixtures are rough, and I genuinely think Foden's been lucky with those points. I sold him because it was getting points, but he just wasn't looking great, and City weren't still looking good enough to spend 9 million on a City player. What I would change massively on wildcard, like Rico Lewis has to be gone soon. Like Pep goes through phases, especially with younger players, of like flavour of the month and wide players a lot. Like at times you'll go Savio's flavour of the month. He'll start every game, or Doku or Grealish. Rico Lewis is another one. Like he was terrible this season. I don't actually rate Rico Lewis that high, but he has been Pep's like big pet project, and he's always been in the 11. Well, the last 3 games now back to back, he's not. Mateus Nunes has played right back, and Rico Lewis hasn't had to start in 3, I think, if you include the Champions League game in the week. So he's down the pecking order, needs to be sold anyway. I'd get rid of Enzo. I'd probably get rid of Bruno on a wild card, but I'll keep him. But other than that, like I'm relatively happy. So yeah, that's where I'm at. Like my plans this week obviously were Gakpo in for Jackson. I can just see Jackson scoring versus Man City as well. But Jackson, I think, has 1 goal in 8. He has been diabolical. Like, I don't know how I've had Jackson in my. I don't know how I've had no points from Jackson. I bought him instead of Chris Wood. I actually bought him before I bought Isak because the festive period for Chelsea. I mean, you and I said Chelsea could be top by Christmas. They had the fixtures, and Jackson's had the chances, but his output has been dismal. So, yeah, Nico Jackson, see you later. Cody Gakpo in, but please don't start scoring, Jackson. And then my plan next week will be to probably have 2 free transfers and not do anything. I'll have 3 Liverpool in place. I'll have 1 Everton. I don't see myself taking a punt on Calvert-Lewin, but I could look at a João Pedro and go, João Pedro to Calvert-Lewin for 1 or 2 weeks. It's possible. But my plan is just to roll and keep the transfers and accumulate them, because eventually, if we have a big blank game week in 29, that's the EFL Cup final. So it could be blanks for the likes of Newcastle, for the likes of Liverpool, for the likes of Palace. Then I don't really want to use a free hit in 29. I'm going to need transfers to then take players from those teams out and then probably wildcard in 30 off the back of it. That's loosely my chip strategy. But yeah, let's see.
Yeah. A few people asking about Marmoush. There was one question like, why is he coming in as a striker? Yeah, well, he's a forward. Like he's gonna play in that front line. I'll be honest, I don't know.
See him as an Alvarez, Mark.
But he doesn't play like Alvarez. This is the slight problem I've got.
Oh, really? Okay.
Alvarez was the biggest mistake that Man City have made. There's not many mistakes they make that they can't overcome. But letting Alvarez go, seeing what he's done at Atletico Madrid and not replacing him is one of the reasons they've been in the situation they are beyond the injury.
And Palmer, same summer, they both went.
Yes. So that's been big, but the issue now is, can Marmoush kind of fill that gap? Now, the way that he played in the Bundesliga is not really repeatable in this Man City lineup. Like, Man City do not play the way that he's been playing at Frankfurt. So that's going to be interesting. Will he improve the City attack? Absolutely. But he's not a guy that has like loads of shots at goal. He's a guy that has just been extremely efficient around goal. And in that specific system, he really worked out. He doesn't really have a position, though. He couldn't, I think, even tell you what his actual position is. I actually looked for it. I knew someone would ask about this today. And he had a quote on his own position. He said, I play many positions. For the national team, I play left wing most of the time. At my former club, I was a number 9. Sometimes I played number 10. Sometimes I play number 8. I also played on the right wing. I feel most comfortable behind the striker in the number 10. So I'm comfortable everywhere. It's like, where's he going to play? I don't know. I don't know. So he definitely improves the top end for City. Like they're crying out for somebody else that can put the ball in the back of the net and be trusted to do that. Like, so that's fine. I just don't know which spot he's going to actually line up in. So keep an eye on him, because at £7 million, obviously he might end up being a good asset. Like, I like the price point for sure.
Yeah.
But let's have a look at him first.
Yeah, good point. And Pep often takes a while to integrate players. It feels like he hasn't got that luxury, but at the same time, I don't think he's ever bought a player like that, of that level. Other than, Haaland, of course, comes straight in the 11, but that's second tier. I can't think of an example where they come straight into the 11. He doesn't do that. I think Akanji, when he bought him, he went straight into the 11, but yeah. Is Luis Diaz a good decision? Luis Diaz got his chance to impress on Tuesday night because Cody Gakpo got a rest. And for the first time in a while, Diaz gets to play on the left-hand side. Diaz has only been playing central, and he did not impress on the left-hand side. He was subbed at 75 minutes when the game was in the balance. He had no shots on target. He had 0.09 XG, XA, 0.00 XG. It wasn't a good game for Diaz on the left. Cody Gakpo is firmly first choice. So sure, he could start number 9 at the weekend, but that's now a coin toss between Darwin and Diaz. And then when Jota's fit, I wouldn't touch Diaz.
Yeah. Wayne asked if I'd start Smith Rowe or Robertson against Man United. Smith Rowe's minutes just haven't been that much of a guarantee. and he still does reasonably well when he comes in. He scored, obviously, recently. But out of the two, I would definitely be on Robinson. Like, he's guaranteed to play, plays the whole game. Possibility for him to keep a clean sheet, but more than that, he's obviously got the high number of assists this season, which has come for a reason.
Harry's at 46k, well played.
Very well played.
But you can get 3 Liverpool, mate. There's no reason not to have 3 Liverpool by next week. And get them this week because it's Ipswich, and then it's a good double, and then it's Wolves. Like, they're the best team in the country. Get to 3 Liverpool if you can. I don't think you even need any Everton. Mikalenko's fine, but when you buy an Everton player for a double game week, just know you're probably selling them, because have you looked at Everton's fixtures after the double? It's not great. Like, you can't, unless you can hide them on your bench, like a Mikalenko is fine because you can be 4th, 5th defender. After the double, they play Palace away, tough game. United at home, Brentford away, tough game. Yeah.
Bench 2 of these. Like, I think I'd bench Munoz, but it's a real toss-up between him and Robinson, to be honest.
Eddie, for Saliba, go buy another Liverpool defender.
Yeah, absolutely. Bench Ahmad or Raul. Bench Ahmad in my eyes.
What to do with Enzo? I own him. If Enzo's your 7th attacker and you start him every week, he's a bit of a problem. Although he should be fit. But hopefully you've got someone like a Morgan Rogers who can come in and play. Like, I've got Enzo and Rogers. Enzo's on my bench, and Rogers gets. I'm very happy starting Rogers each week. So Enzo's not a priority sell for me because he's cheap, 4.95 million.
Yeah, Gaz, I would go for Rogers in that situation, mate. I think that's a good pick actually this week.
Matthew doesn't want to mess with defensive forwards, so I was thinking maybe a punt on McAllister. Oh, I just don't like it as an FPL option. Honestly, I think at Liverpool, it's the only attackers I'd consider are Salah and Gakpo. You could go Szoboszlai, but even him, like, some games Curtis Jones or Elliott come in and play well, and Szoboszlai's not absolutely nailed either. So McAllister, yes, nailed, but where are your routes to points there? He's not a goal scorer, and he often assists the assists. Like, it's just not an FPL pick.
Yeah, would I switch Santos to Henderson or just play Fabianski? I mean, I've got Henderson and Fabianski, but I don't really trust it. Like, I still think there's not great points to be had here either way. All 3 of those goalkeepers, I don't think are like changing your game week enough this week to put too much thought into it.
Yeah, I would be tempted just to go up to a Allison or a Raya or a Sales if you can.
It's the only way you're going to change it. If you really want to get points at your goalkeeper, then that's the only route in that situation.
Yeah. I know. In fact, Mackham, you're one of my channel members. I did a members only video on goalkeepers 2 days ago. Check that out on my channel. I know Robinson or Pedro who to bench. Oh, João Pedro, I just feel that you can't bench the attacking player. Or is it Pedro Porro you're referring to? But I'll assume it's João Pedro. I would probably bench Aina. I think Bournemouth score.
Yeah. Tough call on Aina because obviously he has attacking output too.
He's the best in the game so far, points. He's higher than Trent.
Is he? Yeah. It's interesting. By the way, if you're a member, I have recorded an extra video. I don't know if it's gone out yet because obviously I've just got up. But I've recorded a little video. I did it in the sunshine actually yesterday. I went and sat in the park and did a video because it was beautiful yesterday, mate. It was such a nice day. January here has actually been nicer than any summer I've ever had in England. That's how crazy it is here. But yeah, I was talking about some good value assets, and I talk quite a lot about Cliver in the video. So look out for that one in the members area. Bench Sarr or Semenyo? I would never ever bench Semenyo if I had him. Never.
He's too good. Would you play Semenyo? Would you buy Semenyo or Cliver? Because Cliver's got more points, but I still think Semenyo's the better pick. But he doesn't take
pens. The thing is, they're actually getting pens. So that's
the Semenyo player because Semenyo gets them.
Yeah, no, like Semenyo. If you were to rank my favourite Bournemouth players, I'd have Semenyo higher. But Cliver's numbers are really difficult to argue against at the moment. and he's
I know.
really good value.
He often, when everyone's fit at Bournemouth, Kluivert's not actually in the 11. Like, if every single player's fit, and I'm talking players that are out for ages. So, yeah. Cool, guys. That's all we got time for today. We're going to do some likes to end the show, though. Yeah, good stuff, Paris. Chance to win it. Yeah, you're good.
55 points behind top. Fair play,
amazing,
mate. Very well done. Well done.
I read that completely wrong. I thought you said thought you were saying you're 55 points behind someone. 55 points from top is great. What rank is that, though? Give us a number.
That'd be interesting. Yeah, it's so tight. But that is so hard to achieve. So in a tough season, that's particularly impressive. CH wants a weather report to end. I mean, to be honest, it looks really sunny. All I'm hearing about in England is like, my sister sent me a picture of her boyfriend's car stuck in the mud on the driveway. I'm hearing about these gale force winds, and you're sat there chilling, like with the sun coming through the window.
I'm going for a dog walk in a minute. It's beautiful. Clear skies. It's a bit windy, but yeah, no rain. And I'm in the middle of the country, which hasn't been here. I think south and north both have been. And west is bad. But yeah, I've been on the edge of my chair because the sun's been in my eyes for a long time. I was like, it was here earlier, so I was sat there. So no, it's all good. I don't think we'll get any postponed fixtures this weekend, guys, unfortunately, because we like chaos. If you're just joining in, go back and watch the last hour. That'd be wicked. But do, on your way out, hit the like button. We have only asked for it once, to be fair, but I haven't
even done it myself. I'm going to give it a like right now. There you go.
Likes, mate. How bad is that?
Yeah, it's our own fault because we didn't ask for him. I didn't even do it myself. So there you go.
Give us get told off for asking from too much.
I know. But please, just a bit of Chasing Green Arrows admin. Please do give the like button a little push just so we can try and get towards 10K. We should definitely be there by now. But never mind. Thank you, all of you. You're all here, and we really appreciate it every single week. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll be back on Monday as always. Is there a game on Monday night? I'm not sure. Hopefully not. No, there's not. There's a late Sunday game. So yeah, we'll be reacting to the game week just gone. We'll be previewing the double game week on Monday at 7. No, 6. I can't remember. I don't even know what time we do.
7, I think.
7, isn't it? 7 p.m. We'll see you at 7 on Monday, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.
Cheers.